Alright, now we're going to be talking about homemade terrain. As you can see, there's a homemade building back there. It's pretty low quality. I mean, it's just a cardboard box with windows cut out of it. Once again, it's as detailed as you make it. We're going to start off with, if you watch my other videos, you've seen this, my WOG banner. This is for decoration. I mean, we were thinking about fitting this into scenarios, but we haven't come up with rules for it yet. But when you're playing against orcs, it makes a great piece of terrain. We usually try to put it on the orc deployment zone, but it just adds depth to your board. And then we also have terrain that comes into gameplay. This is a ruined building. The paint job is not great. I didn't really have a lot of paint, and you know, just whatever works. That kind of looks like a face. It's cardboard. I used hot glue. I put this up, cut it up. The longest part to make this was cutting the pieces out. And I just slapped it together, dusted it with some black spray paint, and went over it with some hobby paint. Once again, not great, but it works on a board full of terrain. It's good. Although Imperial Guard heavy weapons teams don't like to stay on those platforms. They usually fall off, but it works. And whatever works, works. I mean, I've played games where we had tissue boxes and Tupperwares as terrain, so that is a step up. And this will be a step up. Also made using cardboard and hot glue, but with added detail. Popsicle sticks on the top. Cardboard, random pieces of plastic. I can never remember what these are called, but the frames that your models will come on. They're not Games Workshop frames, but just random stuff to add detail. And once again, you can make this as detailed you want. I went a good amount of detail. I mean, most of the time you won't have a ladder from the bottom floor to the top floor, but I decided to throw one in. You know, obviously on a smaller scale you can't fit every detail in, so often you'll just pretend they get them in there. I don't know if you can see it, but I added some detail on the inside. But it's a nice piece of terrain. For this, we usually count the bottom floor as intact. Second floor, usually intact. If we count this as an intact building, sometimes we'll have the roof open. When my friend and I play, we don't really like using ruined buildings. We usually use bombed out building as just a blank piece of, it's mainly just cover, but for this we'd usually have the bottom floor you'd embark, and the top floors you just kind of stand on it and get cover. And then I've mainly been showing cardboard. There is another material you can use for buildings, and I'll talk about that now. Styrofoam. There's lots of different kind of styrofoams you can use. This is made using insulation foam. It's about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little thicker. It's got a cardboard base, and it's very straightforward. The thing about this styrofoam is it's really thick, so I don't like using it for everything. It's great for like bunkers or fortifications or just random buildings. I have made lots of styrofoam buildings, but this is the only one I have at my house. Probably my best building is at my friend's house, because that's usually where we play. But very easy. I used wood glue on this. I'm not sure if hot glue will melt styrofoam. I'm sure, but wood glue is probably one of the best terrain glues to use. I mean, hot glue is good, but wood glue you can use on any substance without any problem. So very simple. This was painted using poster paint, brown and black, very simple. I just smothered it. And it works great. This is my friend who plays Orcs and Space Marines. This is his favorite little building. And I believe this is the building. I had a heavy weapons team in there. And they survived an entire apocalypse game. They didn't have too much big things shooting them. A couple of Tau gunships, battle suits, and I believe they killed a demon prince and a chaos predator while they're hunkered down in this thing. It's a nice little building. And so that's pretty much it. Once again, you can really use anything, and as far as building terrain, it's as much detail as you want or can put into it. When I first started, this is one of my earlier buildings. I mean, it's pretty simple. 3 regular walls and a blown up wall. The orc building I showed you earlier is one of my newer pieces, so I threw a lot of detail into it, but once again, it's cardboard and styrofoam. It's everyday material that you usually have lying around. As far as which one's better, cardboard or styrofoam, it really depends. I have a friend who hates cardboard and he refuses to use it for any of his terrain. But then again, styrofoam can be too thick. I mean, to scale, that's a couple feet of concrete for a building. Like I said, it works great for a bunker or something like that. But for little shacks or little buildings, cardboard is probably about the right thickness. And I actually use a lot of both. As you can see, it's got a cardboard roof and a cardboard floor. I built a giant styrofoam building and I used cardboard for the floors of each level. It's a 5-story building. So, you know, it's really preference. No one material is better than the other. It really depends on what you're building. And I forgot to mention toothpicks. Toothpicks are great for everything. Spikes, I actually use toothpicks to help hold the styrofoam together while it's glued. And just random things. So, styrofoam, cardboard, and toothpicks. You can pretty much make anything. So I hope this video helped, or at least convinced you that somebody else is doing the same thing you're doing, so you're not wrong. And there really is no wrong way to build terrain. I mean, anything goes. I mean, it's a tabletop game. Like I said, we've used tissue boxes and Tupperwares. Alright, see you later, and I will be making more videos. And maybe videos with tactics using buildings, because I love using buildings. So stay tuned.